Never tied a bow tie in front of a crowd before, so we're going to give this a shot. I got a backup plan, though. So you're probably wondering what's the gag here, right? So this bow tie is like the example for what I'm going to talk about today, which is product. Give me a second here. There we go. All right, that's a little ugly down there, but you guys get the picture. Right, so we're going to talk a little bit about product today, and this bow tie is the example, right? It looks all crazy, and you get up and you stand in front of the mirror and you fiddle with it. It never works, but when it comes together, it looks really good, right? You have this crazy end over here. This is technology. You got scientists and PhDs and open source data and all sorts of stuff, and it comes together in a product in the middle, right? And that product is this nice tight knot that holds everything together. And over here, this is your customers, right? They're cats and dogs, and they're running away and not telling you what they need to know, and they're crazy. They don't know anything. So you're using this product to hold together your technology and to hold together your customers, right? And that's the title here. An ugly baby a mother can love, but an ugly product's going to send you out of business. So I got this little guy up here. All right, we're gonna run through in a little different order today. We're going to talk about tech, then we're going to talk about customers, and then I'm going to tell you why space, right? Why are we up here now talking about tech and product, giving you kind of these generic ideas and how they apply to the space domain. So here's a, 8-year-old with a MacBook. I'll tell you a story about a company called Pure Storage. You guys are probably familiar with InQtel. Some of you are maybe not. InQtel is a strategic investor, and we go out and we scour the marketplace for venture-backed startups, and we invest in them and help them develop their technologies to transition that technology into the government. Pure Storage is a company in our portfolio that's addressing flash-based storage for data centers. And you guys are all familiar with this, right? In the old days, you had your ThinkPad. I don't see any ThinkPads out here, but you had your ThinkPad. You popped it open, and it crunched for about 4 minutes and sort of worked, and that stunk, right? That was a nuisance. In the modern era, the future, you got your MacBook with your flash-based drive you paid $300 for. You pop it open, it's going in 3 seconds. That's great. Pure Storage did the same thing for the data center market, right? They solved a lot of these problems. Frankly, a lot of their competitors solved a lot of these problems and allowed you to roll out this really sort of 10x improvement in speed for your data center. But what they really added here was simplicity. And I'm gonna cheat a little bit. This is actually my business card, but the manual for setting up a Pure Storage flash array is about a business card. It's a trifold. They cheat too. Even an 8-year-old could do it. John Cosgrove, who's the CTO, just tells a good story about how he just hands his kid like $100,000 worth of flash gear and is like, set this up and no problem, 30 minutes. So that's what we're looking for, right? We're looking for taking that complex tech and distilling it down into that tight product that makes sense, right? You want to address the most customers you can, right? You don't want to say, I got this one guy. You want to address a massive market, right? Captain Kirk and the Starship Enterprise. If you invented the Enterprise tomorrow, you'd go out of business, right? Because Captain Kirk would be your market. All right, he doesn't have any money. What you want to be the food synthesizer guy, right? The replicator guy. You want to speak a common language. Even these Klingons who don't speak English speak the language of food, right? That replicator guy is retiring on Mars as a trillionaire. Elon Musk is groveling at his feet today. So imagine that, right? Imagine a technology that people can understand, a product that people can understand. It takes your technology and translates it into some sort of common language. And I think Michael's talk was terrific, right? He talks about, having the quantum computer in your iPhone in space, right? Those are all visual sort of, it's a lexicon of terms that people can understand. That's a science fiction example. Let's talk about a science fact example, though. Here's the weather app. This is Weather Channel, but you all have the weather app on your phone, I'm quite confident. It's probably in the default location, because if you moved it, you wouldn't know what the weather was. But you also know that the weather is tremendously complex, right? One of the core applications for supercomputing. You got, supercomputers over here pulling data off of satellites and terrestrial sensors and crunching it all together, modeling hurricanes, giving them goofy names, and the weatherman's over here getting it wrong on TV. And they distill it into 4 numbers in one cartoon and an advertisement, by the way. And everybody gets it, right? Everybody's got this application, and presumably American Express makes money. So that's what we're talking about here, taking these very complex technologies, right? We've had tons of good starts in the last couple of years. taking these complex technologies that people are talking about that are generating this excitement and distilling it down into a product that I can reach for on the shelf, right? Figuratively speaking. So why space, right? I just hinted at this. You got, Richard Branson and Elon Musk and sort of their peers, the eccentric billionaire class. They've really done the tremendous work laying the foundation for what's coming, right? You can now get to space. You have options for a ride to space that's not just, one guy or whatever. And these guys have done tremendous work. Okay, what next, right? What have they laid the foundation for? And I'm going to talk about specifically big data in space, right? The sort of data deluge that we're going to come under, that we're frankly under right now. You've got, dozens, hundreds of satellites contemplated, streaming information down at high bandwidth to a terrestrial network that's better than it's ever been. And so what are we going to do about that? We don't have a raincoat. We don't have an umbrella. How are we going to deal with this deluge of data, right? So in the terrestrial market, these problems have been solved. Not all of them, but some of them in very clever ways. And I'll tell you an example based on lithium grease. So I drive this 2004 Crown Vic. It's a real pile. And I'm driving to Philly a couple of months ago and get up there, and all of a sudden the steering's a little tight. Who knows? Pull it into the AutoZone in North Philly, grab the grease off the shelf and plump it on the counter, and swipe my credit card. Phone comes up with a text message from Chase. It was an American Express guy, not anymore. Chase says, text 1 if this is a real charge, and text 0 if this is a fraudulent charge. Okay, what's behind that? Okay, they're leveraging big data, machine learning. They've got their in-house organic analysts. They've got companies out here. They've got data they're exploiting. They've got tools they're leveraging. That all distills down into a text message in my hand in real time, right? There's no analyst on the other end of that. It's all automated. That's pretty cool. It allows us to operate in a very fluid and dangerous environment. You all still use your credit card, despite the fact that you're going to get your identity stolen, because of tools like this, because of the simplicity, because of the common language. And let me tell you, helps the steering. So in the old days, in the modern era, you got your government and your digital globe and your Airbus and your others taking these wonderful, wonderful high-resolution images of the Earth, sensing the Earth, using wonderful technology. This is a picture, actually, of the bin Laden compound. This was the best open-source picture I could find of something from space that I could cite. It was odd that it was from the CIA. And frankly, these guys are still doing tremendous, tremendous work. Go check out their websites. There's a lot of good stuff over there. But what about the data deluge? What are we going to do about that? So I'm from a small town in Vermont, Middlebury, Vermont. Population 8,000. In the old days, right, you're in high school and you're dating and it's tumultuous time. Emotions are flying. And, you get kind of maybe it's 1 or 2 looks and you really got to work at that courtship model, right? It's hard and maybe it doesn't go your way exactly. Okay, that was the old days. Now we're in the modern era. We're moving to the big city. What are we going to do? What are we going to do about these trillions of pixels being pumped down? This deluge of data. Okay, here's the gag. Pixel Tinder. We need these tools that speak a common language, these products that you can reach and grab off the shelf that say, hey, here's a text message. Text 1 if this is fraud. Swipe right if you love this pixel. And there are companies out there doing that now. There are companies that you work for or you may start tomorrow. And I think that's the phase that we're in right now. Right? In the next 2 or 3 years, we're going to see tremendous execution as people take this technology over here and weave it into a product and then break open these markets, right, to really validate the valuation of your company. When you go raise $10 million, you're going to have to exit at 100. You got to validate that valuation based on customer feedback. And I'll leave you with that, right? Pixel Tinder and the bow tie, and hopefully that's of some help in going forward in this new environment.